So I have this calculator that allows you to write programs, which some people use for school or to solve equations and stuff. And I mean, that is kind of the purpose of a calculator, but as a game dev, I'm gonna be exploiting this.
To make it more interesting though, I only get 24 hours, I have school for half of it, and I have to type entirely on the calculator. I also started at 4 p.m. for some reason. Alright, so first off, I'm gonna make some quick projects to get a feel for the calculator's coding language. For the first project, I'm just gonna figure out how to put text on the screen. So after doing a bit of, let's just say research, I found this menu which has a bunch of stuff like inputs and get key, which will be useful later, but what we came here for is either display or output, though I don't know the difference. I also have no idea how to use either of these. Yeah, looking back, I probably should have looked stuff up, and not doing that wasted like 10 minutes of my time. I'm just gonna try output and hope it works. But here's where the first problem became clear. On the calculator, to type a single letter, you have to go here, press the alpha button, then you actually have to find the letter on an alphabetically sorted keyboard, taking like 5 seconds per letter. Oh, and God forbid you need to type a sentence, because then you'll be typing for the entire challenge. This is worse than the time. Oh my god, I cannot do a Peter Griffin. Bro, this is worse than that time I tried to record a video when I was sick. Oh my... Okay, this is like that time I tried to record a YouTube video when I was sick. So after taking almost an entire minute to type 10 letters, we have an error. Great! So that means that I'm using the output wrong somehow, so maybe I need to put the text in quotes. Nope. You know what? Fine, I'll Google it. Alright, so it looks like output displays it on a certain row and column, but display just outputs it normally, so I'll change it to display, and finally it works. Alright, now I'm going to do something a little more complicated. I'm going to ask the user for a number, add 5 to the number, and then output the number. Very complicated, I know. Alright, so let's ask the user for a number. Oh, great, I have to type a sentence, why? And I'm finally done. I forgot to put quotes around it. Aw, shucks. Well, you know what they say, take the easy path in life and you'll succeed. By the way, there was an insert button which would have solved this problem, but I didn't know about it at the time. So then we take the input, put it in the variable a, and then display a plus 5, and we get this. This is so cool, doing first grade math. Alright, I promise it gets cooler, just stick around till the end, please. Alright, last thing, I'm just gonna do an output to see how it works, and boom. So now that I've spent 30 minutes learning the basics, I'm gonna start working on the actual game. Here, guess what game I'm making? Is it A, Flappy Bird? It's Flappy Bird, you got it right. Yeah, woohoo. So first, I gotta get the key the player presses so I can tell when they jump, so I'm gonna use the get key from earlier. While Googling stuff, I came across this website called TI Basic Developer that explains all the different functions, including get key, and it has this picture with all the key codes for the buttons. So using this, the up key is 25, so this code should display up every frame I press up. And it works. After this, I coded for like 45 minutes without a single test. So basically what I did in this time lapse is subtract 1 from the bird's Y if up isn't being pressed, or add 1 if it is being pressed. I'll put the bird on the screen as a star symbol because that's like the most bird-like thing I could find. Then subtract 1 from the pipe's X, or set the pipe at the right end if it reaches the left end. Output zeros in the column of the pipe, and then clear the screen first thing next update so that I can draw the next update. So first test, and the bird goes left instead of down, and the pipe is below the bird. It seems like X and Y are switched around in output, so I switched them around again, so now it should work. This time the bird falls upwards, and I think that means that Y1 is at the top and Y10 is at the bottom. So instead of subtracting from Y, I need to add to go down. Now it works pretty well. All we need to do now is add holes in the pipes, collisions, and a score system. And we have a working game on a calculator. For the holes, I got a random number and then had the pipe not be outputted at that Y and the Y's 1 and 2 below it. Then for the collisions, I ended the game if the player's Y was off screen or if the player's Y wasn't in the pipe's hole when the player had the same X as the pipe. And then finally, for the score, I outputted it at the top of the screen and then added 1 to it every time the player was in the pipe's holes. Then I also added a lose screen to make it more clear when you die. I wanted to make it get faster as you went on, but even at its fastest, it's still pretty slow, and I didn't want to make it slower to make it get faster, so it's just going to be the exact same speed. It's also pretty flashy as you've probably already noticed, but I'm not sure how much I can fix that. The problem with coding directly on the calculator, besides taking like an hour to type something, is that I have to use the calculator's coding language, meaning that any game I make will run a lot slower than something that's coded in an actual language like C++ or something.
You know, like coding languages that aren't just meant for graphic lines and solving equations.
That's why there's such a big difference between Flappy Bird's made in the calculator's language, as you can see in this one made by Dev Banana, and this one that I found on Calcplex. To make the pipes more pipe-like, I changed the O's to H's, and whoa, what happened to the bird's sprite? That's crazy, bro. For some reason. Anyways, it's only been about 2 hours into the challenge, and I'm gonna stop coding for the night. But first, I'm gonna show my brothers the game to see what they think and get some feedback.
I wish people with epilepsy could play this game. What if they made a game called Flappy Birds?
I'm sorry, what?
I didn't mean to make that name. No, I'm sorry. No!
Wait, what? Literally just Flappy
I made
Bird?
Flappy Bird in
Oh,
a calculator.
you made it? You made it?
Yeah.
In a calculator.
Yeah.
Alright, it's around 8:30
a.m.
meaning that I have around 8 hours left, but 6 of those hours I'm not gonna be home, and we still have a few problems to fix. Anyways, I'm also gonna show some of my friends to see what else I should change.
Look at this. You made Flappy Bird on it. You can make Flappy Bird on it. Or you did not make Flappy Bird on it. Yes, you did. Wait, how do you make Flappy Bird?
Too good.
You made Flappy Bird on this calculator. How? Do you know computer science degrees are not going to have any code?
Actually? Yeah.
Danny, you do realize computer science degrees are going to have no value in the future. You're not going to get a job.
Something that actually kind of surprised me is that like half the people I showed thought I didn't make it or used a tutorial or something, which was kind of a boost to my ego, honestly. Almost everyone I showed said something about the flashiness, so I'll definitely have to make that better. Someone suggested that I should make 2 pipes, and I also realized that the score gets covered by the pipes and it's like barely visible. So of course, when I had free time and I was done with all of my classwork,
I started to work on these issues.
adding the 2 pipe thing was pretty self-explanatory. I just copied the code and then shifted the pipe over a little, but that's all I had time to do in school. Now I only have around 50 minutes left of the challenge. After a bit of thinking and looking at my code, I realized that the flashiness was because of when I cleared the screen. Since I cleared the screen at the very start of each update, about half of the update was spent calculating the new position, then half of it was updating the screen, so for half the time the screen was blank. So after changing around the positions of the screen clear and the score output in the code, it runs a lot smoother, and I finished the game with 30 minutes to spare. As always, I hate Tuesdays, and like and sub if you enjoyed.